I would just like Paramount to know that I am available at any time they would like to celebrate the holidays. Or really anything else they'd like me to write. Season's greetings, geeks, freaks, and all those unique. This is Emcee Frodis. Christmas and Star Trek are not a natural combination. We actually have so few references to the holiday, I've previously done a video questioning whether or not it is actually even celebrated within Starfleet. But for the sake of argument, let's say Christmas is celebrated within the future of the Federation. So what would a Christmas episode of Star Trek look like? This was a question I asked myself when I was asked to guest on Trexpert Quiz's holiday special. 4 other podcasts and myself were tasked with pitching out our ideal Star Trek holiday special. You can check out my initial live pitch along with everyone else's on Trexpert's channel. I'll link them in the description. But I wanted to take my pitch and expand it into a more fleshed out concept. But before we get to that, thank you to my wonderful patrons at the cheerleader level: Stephanie Strauss, Alicia Brown, Stephen Hill, Jalasco, Spotted Giraffe, Mayray Vokaya, and Riker Tattoo. You guys are fantastic and help me keep this show going. If you want to support me and my videos, please join these guys over on my Patreon. As I said, Star Trek is not something that naturally lends itself to a Christmas episode. Gene Roddenberry was adamant about keeping the show secular, although this has been relaxed since his death. I think there was also a want to keep the characters outside of the mundanity of our own lives, so they don't have things like our holidays. But this is also something that's been relaxed in recent years, with Halloween being mentioned on several series, but there's always the problem of not wanting to do a Christmas episode, because it really only works at one time of year. But I think this is less of a worry now in the days of streaming than it was when most revenue came from syndication. So, on to my pitch itself. If we're going to do a holiday special, I want it to be big. I want it to be a full special. I'd say at least half an hour, if not an hour and a half. I think we could do this as a full-blown movie. I also think we only have one shot at this, so I want it to be something that celebrates all of Star Trek. It can't be limited to one series. It has to be an all-encompassing celebration of the franchise. But we need to have a focus, something to tie everything together. There is no better series for this than Lower Decks. First of all, it's the series that is the closest to the ground with these characters. We see them in their everyday lives more than any other crew. Seeing them celebrating a holiday wouldn't be unusual. It's also the most ridiculous, so you can get away with the silliness of a holiday special. And it's just a love letter to the franchise, and this would be its Christmas card. The title of this piece is The Star Trek Lower Decks Interplanetary Multi-Generational Extra-Dimensional Holiday Special. While this idea is mine, I'm not so arrogant to think that I could write it all by myself. Of course, I'd need to have Mike McMahon, creator of Lower Decks, with me, but I'd also like to bring Aaron Waltke, co-executive producer of Star Trek Prodigy. This is not because of his work on Prodigy, although that is stellar, but Waltke wrote the very short treks, Holograms All the Way Down, which was really the only truly great very short treks. And this special has just a little bit of that short's flavor. But how do we structure a holiday special? If you look at holiday specials, they often have similar vibes to them. But there are 2 that stand out above all of the others as the most prevalent. That is the Christmas Carol model and the It's a Wonderful Life model. I'm not going anywhere near It's a Wonderful Life because that was already done to absolute perfection in the non-holiday Next Generation episode Tapestry, and a little bit of Strange New Worlds Quality of Mercy. It's well-tread ground at this point, and both of those episodes are so well done, I don't think we should touch it again. But A Christmas Carol? It's parodied and remade all of the time for a reason. Charles Dickens' story of a man learning how to take Christmas into his heart after being visited by a ghost is one of the most powerful in the world. And it also works perfectly for what I want to do, with a very special twist. But in the world of Lower Decks, who would serve as the Scrooge? I think that there's really only one character who could truly take on Ebenezer's bah humbugs. This is not just A Christmas Carol. This is A Christmas Carol Freeman. Who better to take the role of the richest, grumpiest man in town than the captain of the ship, who is also usually pretty grumpy? Apologies for the roughness of the dialogue. I mostly wanted to sketch things out, and I think things could be expanded in the finished version, but I wanted you to get a good idea as to what the special would be. So we've got the star of our show, and we open up on the shot of the Cerritos flying through space. As we hear Carol's voiceover, she's clearly unhappy. Captain's log, stardate 58978.0. The Cerritos has gone off active duty for the week-long Federation observance of the interplanetary multi-faith end-of-year holiday. By an extraordinary coincidence, most cultures have a celebration that coincides with the end of the Terran solar year. Instead of the important work of exploring the galaxy, everything will grind to a halt for the festivities. As captain of the ship, I'm obligated to participate. This is made harder still by one lieutenant. As Carol is stalking the corridors, Mariner has put garland all over the doors. She's carrying a Christmas tree topped with a delta and is wearing a Santa hat. She's singing Christmas carols at the top of her lungs. Deck the halls with capelian flower, fa la 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 la. I am so sorry. You know, I really hate singing on this channel. Already, Carol looks absolutely miserable at Mariner, crossing her arms over her chest. Lieutenant Mariner, what are you doing? It's Christmas. I'm putting up decorations. It is not Christmas. It is the interplanetary multi-faith end-of-year holiday. Yeah, and Christmas is one of those. So people who celebrate Christmas can celebrate Christmas. And there's a lot of us on the Cerritos. Actually, in all of Starfleet. Does it ever bother you that most of Starfleet is made up of humans from North America? Freeman is still not having any of it, but from under the tree, there is a strange noise. I wondered that. Boimler pops out from under the tree, letting out a sigh of relief. I thought I was going to be under there forever. Mariner, did you just forget about me? You said you would help me carry the tree. Boimler, tell the captain how much fun Christmas is going to be this year. Freeman is glaring at Boimler. Think about that, Lieutenant. Boimler shakes his head. I don't think I want to, Mariner. Freeman gets nose to nose with Mariner. Christmas is a waste of time we could be spending exploring the galaxy. Instead, we have to stop everything we're doing for this forced cheer. Mariner looks completely crestfallen. Freeman steps over the tree, stalking down the corridor. Bah! Get this cleaned up! Boimler is frowning as Freeman leaves. So we should take care of this? Oh, I'm going to take care of this, all right. We need some immediate emergency holiday cheer. Oh no. What are you planning? Mariner! Mariner! The next scene, Freeman is asleep in her quarters. There is the sound of rattling chains. Carol Freeman! The voice is very, very familiar. Freeman wakes up, and we see at the foot of her bed none other than Jean-Luc Picard, wrapped in chains. Freeman looks around. Beckett, did you move my bed into a holodeck? Picard rattles his chains. Ask who I am. Freeman sighs. I know who you're supposed to be. You're Admiral Picard. Beckett, why would you program Admiral Picard? Beckett did not program me. Why do you doubt your senses? Because why would you appear to me? You're not even dead. You're more photons than phantom. Picard stops for a moment. Oh, that was good. But I come to you as a warning. Look at my chains, Carol. Locks and vaults and communicators. I wear the chain I forged in command. You're saying that's the chain of command? Picard's getting angrier. Probably because he really digs on Dickens and actually wants to deliver the speech. I made it link by link, yard by yard, and word of my own free will. Is the pattern strange to you, or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? Carol still looks unimpressed. What are you trying to tell me? You will weigh yourself down under your own captaincy, Carol. You will lose those you hold dear if you continue to push them away. That is what I did, and look where I am now. You're an admiral and the most respected officer in Starfleet. But I am alone. You have the chance to escape my fate, Carol. She's over this already. Oh, really? You will be visited by 4 spirits. Carol pauses. Wait, wasn't Scrooge visited by 3 spirits? 4 spirits, Picard has insisted. Expect the first soon. Picard disappears in a flash, and Carol gets out of bed, looking around. Computer, Arch. Nothing happens. Computer, where is my location? You are in the captain's quarters. Freeman stalks to the door and opens it. Boimler gives a jump, letting out the Boimler scream. But this is not the Boimler Freeman saw earlier that day. He is see-through, like he was when he was out of phase with reality from the transporter. And he's in his dress uniform. I am the ghost of holiday past. Lieutenant, if you don't tell me what's going on right now, I'll have you in the brig. Boimler shrinks down. This is really what's going on, Captain. Freeman sighs. Boimler wouldn't lie to her after all. He's too afraid of her. You're the ghost of holiday past. My past. Long past. He holds out his arm. Come with me, Captain. Suddenly, the scene changes. They're on the Enterprise NX-01, specifically Archer's quarters, where Archer, Tucker, and T'Pol are sitting by a small tree. Porthos is asleep underneath it. Archer is wearing a Santa hat like Mariner was. Freeman is looking around frantically. Did Mariner get a copy of Riker's Enterprise program? Boimler shakes his head. No, this is the real thing. But he really does love that program. This is in their first year of the mission. T'Pol has 2 wrapped boxes. I have researched the human festivities of this time of year. I felt it appropriate to participate. She gives a box to each of them. Tucker grins. Well, T'Pol, this is definitely not what I was expecting from you. Archer opens his box and takes out a pair of socks. He laughs. You know, this is exactly what I was expecting from you. Tucker takes out his own socks. T'Pol seems confused by their mirth. Socks are a logical gift. They are a daily requirement, but are not assigned with Starfleet uniform. Quality socks help prevent discomfort from blisters, sweat, and reduce odor. Trip frowns. Are you saying our feet smell? T'Pol raises an eyebrow. This will reduce that. Archer smiles. It's a very thoughtful gift, T'Pol. He grabs a box from under the tree. I got you something. T'Pol opens the box and looks blankly at one of the NX-01 hats. She doesn't know how to respond. It should keep the sun out of your eyes, Tucker suggests. Vulcan is a pretty sunny planet. Vulcans have an inner eyelid that protects their eyes from the sun of our planet. She pauses. But this was considerate. Thank you. Freeman is frowning deeply. What is this supposed to show me? Boimler is clenching his hands. Is she gonna put it on? Is she gonna put it on? T'Pol dons the hat, and Boimler raises his fists in triumph. She put the hat on! Lieutenant! But let's continue on our journey. Suddenly, they're on the Enterprise 1701. But not only that, they're looking a bit different, now in live action. I'm thinking the scenes go back and forth between animated and live action, depending on how well the live action actors can portray their characters from that time period. So mostly the modern Trek. Huh, that's weird, Freeman says as she looks down at her hands. This doesn't feel normal. It always feels like that here, Boimler sighs. I don't know what it is about this time period. But let's look at this. Number 1 is sitting apart from the majority of the senior staff who are having a Christmas party. See, Freeman says, I always liked her. Boimler sighs. Captain, just watch. La'an comes to the bar to sit next to Una. You're not joining everyone else? Neither are you, Una points out. La'an shrugs. I felt the need to investigate your absence. Una looks wistful. Christmas isn't really a thing for, she pauses, looking down, my people. We have our own celebrations. La'an understands. This is a time of year to celebrate everyone's beliefs. Una looks away. Only you and the captain know about my people. I can't let everyone else know. She gestures to the group. Go ahead, Lieutenant. You should celebrate with everyone else. I'm fine on my own. I always am. The scene fades and changes. Una's in her quarters alone, doing some sort of ritual. Boimler lets out a small squeal. Number 1's quarters! Freeman looks at Boimler as if he's lost it. He gets all serious again, just as the door chimes. Una ignores it until it chimes again. She rises from the ground and goes to the door, opening it. Captain Pike and La'an are on the other side. Captain, Una says, surprised. What are you doing here? La'an told me what was going on. We were hoping we could join you. Pike pauses. Unless it's a private thing. Una shakes her head, stepping out of the way. No, please come in. Boimler sighs in happiness as Una has a genuine smile. Wow, she's really pretty when she smiles. Freeman groans. Lieutenant Boimler, you didn't just bring me here to moon over your crushes, did you? Boimler laughs nervously. What? Just because both of the visions I showed you had T'Pol number 1 in them? That's ridiculous. The scene changes again, and Boimler and Freeman are animated again, but they're looking like they're animated from the original animated series. While the senior staff around them are in animated series style, they look distinctly different because they are in monster maroons. This is a post-voyage home crew. And now here we are on the Enterprise A, Boimler pronounces, not long after they started their new mission. Kirk clinks his glass, standing up. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I feel blessed to have been able to spend so many Christmases with the people around this table. Everyone is smiling at Kirk. The whole crew is there. McCoy, Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura. Even Spock is there. He's not smiling, but he's got that look of Vulcan, yeah, I'm secretly happy thing going on. How many years has it been? Kirk continues. 20 years? Hell, when I met you, Nyota, you were fresh out of the academy. Didn't she break your nose, Jim? McCoy calls out. Kirk glares at Uhura. She looks away. Sorry, Captain. It might have come up once or twice. Anyway, broken noses aside, I can't think of a better crew to spend that time with. You have become the only family I have. Boimler leans over to Freeman. His son had died less than a year earlier. Freeman glares. I have read Captain Kirk's autobiography, Lieutenant. Kirk looks wistful. I know we all missed the original Enterprise, but a ship isn't the nacelles or the hull. It's the people on it. So I still have the best part of the Enterprise with me. Merry Christmas, guys. As everyone clinks glasses, Carol just seems to be getting angrier. What's this supposed to show me? Random scenes from the Enterprise hundreds of years in the past? This is ridiculous. And I don't know how you've done this, but I think it's either the holodeck or some sort of time travel. And temporal investigations are already on your ass after the Krolmuth incident. Boimler shrinks down. I think that's my cue. This has been fun, Captain. Boimler fades away, along with the original series crew, leaving Carol alone. But she's nowhere really now. She looks around. Well, why aren't I home? We've still got a lot more to do, calls a cheerful voice. Carol turns towards the voice. It's Tendi, dressed in green robes and a crown of holly. Carol groans. You're Orion! You don't even celebrate Christmas. Well, I haven't before, but it seems really neato. Mariner says she's going to teach me about eggnog and hanging up socks, but even without celebrating, I know how important this time of year is, and I'm here as the ghost of holiday present to show you how people now are celebrating. The scene shifts to a familiar-looking ship. Carol is frowning as she looks around at it. This is the Enterprise D. This ship crashed almost 10 years ago. Tendi huffs in annoyance. Okay, so I'm the ghost of almost present. It's close enough. Like you said, we're on the Enterprise D. Ooh, look at the carpet. Lieutenant, if we're going to do this, can we at least do it quickly? Oh, right, Tendi grins. We're on the Enterprise D in 2367. It's a big enough ship that there are a bunch of parties that happen during the holiday week. But there's always one best one. But this year, it's not happening. Freeman looks somewhat intrigued. Why not? Tendi gestures to a door. She walks through it, as in walks through the actual door. When Freeman doesn't follow her, she sticks her head back out and gestures for her to follow. Come on, we're ghosts. We can go through things. Freeman goes through the door. So I guess the time travel theory is out. But I'm still not sure this isn't the holodeck. Tendi gestures to a couch in the room. Beverly Crusher is sitting on it. This is the reason the party isn't happening this year. Dr. Crusher was always the one who threw it, but she's not really feeling up to it this year. Freeman actually looks kind of interested. Why not? Wesley's gone to the academy. It's her first Christmas without him. Tendi looks at Freeman. It can be hard to be without your kid during the holidays. Some people are lucky to have their kid around. There's a beep at the door. Beverly rises and goes to get it. She opens it, and Riker and Troy are on the other side. I told you I'm fine, Crusher sighs. You don't have to worry about me. We're not worried, Riker replies, but you're coming with us. Riker and Troy hustle Crusher out of her quarters and down the corridor. Tendi and Freeman follow them. They go into Riker's quarters, where Geordi, Data, and Worf are waiting. The quarters have been decorated. Merry Christmas, Beverly, Troy says. You guys did all this? Beverly says, a bit amazed. Geordi gives Bev a kiss on the cheek. We knew you weren't up for hosting this year, but we still wanted to celebrate. Bev cocks her head at Worf. Worf, I'm surprised to see you here. I am here for the poker. Riker picks up a deck of cards, and we'll get right to that. We should be able to get in a few hands before the call. Call? Beverly questions. Troy smiles. We've put in a subspace call to Earth. You'll be able to talk to Wesley, at least for a little bit. They all helped her celebrate, Tendi points out, except for Captain Picard. But you know where that got him, Freeman huffs in annoyance. I know Admiral Picard isn't doomed to wear chains for all of eternity, Lieutenant, but he is doomed to be alone for a long time. We should keep moving. There's still more to see. The scene changes, and now they're on Deep Space Nine. Tendi claps and jumps up and down. Oh my god, it's Jadzia Dax! She points to Jadzia, who's talking to Worf at a table. Lieutenant! Freeman yells, and Tendi smiles sheepishly. Sorry, Captain. This party is a little bigger than the one we just saw. Captain Sisko loves to throw holiday parties, and he thought it would be good for morale, with the Dominion War starting to heat up. He liked to rent out all of Quark's for the party. Everyone on the station was welcome to come by. Captain Sisko even cooked. Merry Christmas, Quark calls out. Happy Hanukkah, Harizah Kwanzaa, Peldor Korenga, and most importantly, a prosperous time of mass consumption. Freeman frowns. That seems crass. Tendi shakes her head. No, that's actually the traditional greeting for this time of year on Ferenginar. It is the time of mass consumption. It's actually a really important holiday for them. All around them are happy people talking to each other. It's almost a din. But in the corner is Odo, looking all alone. Kira comes over to him. Odo, why haven't you come over and joined us? Nothing's going to happen in the bar today. All of the senior staff are here. Odo remains stiff. I'm not sure that anyone would really want me around, with everything that's been happening with my people. That's your people, Kira says firmly. Not you. No one blames you. Now come on. I don't have anything to celebrate, Odo points out. I don't know about changeling holidays. Kira takes a hold of his arm. Well, this is the Bajoran time of family, and you're my family, so you're celebrating with me. Kira brings Odo into the crowd, where he's surrounded by crew members almost immediately. There is a loud whooping that makes Freeman turn around. It's Mariner, dressed in the DS9-era uniform, but she's still in her Santa hat. And she's doing the Ferengi dance from You Are Cordially Invited, along with Nog. She looks like she's having a good time, Freeman comments. She is, Tendi asserts. Freeman looks away. I don't want to see any more. Take me somewhere else. Tendi frowns, but she agrees, and the scene changes. They're now on Voyager. We're all of the way in the Delta Quadrant now, Tendi explains. Voyager's only been here a few months. No one really feels like celebrating this year. Janeway is walking down the corridor, looking crestfallen. Tendi is frowning as she and Freeman follow behind her. No one is able to be with their family. They don't really know each other all that well yet. Everybody just wants to be on their own. Neelix comes out of the mess hall. Ah, Captain, I was hoping you'd come by. Come in, come in. Janeway looks confused as Neelix hustles her into the mess hall. Neelix, what is going... The mess hall has been decorated, but it's not nearly as nice as what has been shown on the Enterprise D and Deep Space Nine. In fact, it looks pretty makeshift, out of various cooking implements and other things Neelix could collect around the ship. The tree, which is not an evergreen, looks pretty pathetic, but it has been decorated. I know it's not perfect, Neelix admits. I borrowed the plant from Kess, and it's pretty small, but I've been reading about your celebrations, and I thought it would be worth a try. Janeway looks around. There are officers talking to each other. Tendi smiles, leaning over to Freeman. This is the first party the crew have gone to together. and there's Starfleet and Maquis officers having a chance to talk to each other like they haven't before. What's your point, Lieutenant? The scene seems to speed up, and people are moving around Freeman and Tendi quickly. It then slows down again. Tendi is smiling brightly. Well, this is a few hours later. Crew members are gathered in the group, where Janeway is leading them in carols. Everyone seems incredibly happy to be there. Neelix threw a party every year, Tendi explained. Every year afterwards, people would bring things. Everyone would sacrifice a few replicator credits in order to decorate the place properly, have lots of good food, and just enjoy being together. Even if they couldn't be with their family, they still had each other. Carol looks somewhat chastened. Tendi still looks bright. You know there's going to be a party on the Cerritos. Carol nods. I know. Think that's time for me to go. Tendi disappears, leaving Carol alone. Carol shuts her eyes. So why don't we just get the future thing over with? Not quite yet, Rutherford says as he appears. He's dressed almost exactly like Tendi, except in red rather than green. I'm here first. Carol looks confused. And who are you? Rutherford grins. I'm the ghost of Holiday Alternate Universe. What does that... Carol stops herself. You're just going to tell me to go with it, aren't you? Rutherford's grin widens. How'd you guess? Now we should get started. We're going to go to this far-off place called the Mirror Universe, Carol supplies. You're really good at guessing, Captain. Carol rolls her eyes. Where else would we be going? The scene changes, and they're on a ship. There isn't a Cerritos in this world, Rutherford explains. You know, with the Terran Empire falling and everything. But you're still a captain. This Captain Freeman is stalking the corridors. She bursts into a room where Mariner is waiting for her. They both look confrontationally at each other. Then, surprisingly, Freeman grins widely. Merry Christmas, Beckett. She brings a present out from behind her back. Mariner jumps up. Aw, Mom, you shouldn't have. R. Freeman looks angry. She doesn't want to see herself being so happy with Mariner. You know, they're evil, so I don't know if it says much for what you're trying to get across. But look how happy they are, Rutherford points out. Mariner has opened up her present. It's a knife. Ah, wow! This is going to be perfect for torturing Boimler. R. Freeman looks deeply affected by the scene. We can move on. Rutherford sighs. Well, I guess if you think so. The scene changes to another dark ship. It looks stark. It's the Enterprise D again, but somehow different. We see Tasha Yar wearing a phaser belt, her hair slicked back. This is a world where the Enterprise C disappeared without a trace, Rutherford explains, so they weren't able to save a Klingon outpost, which helped lead to peace with the Klingon Empire. War eventually broke out. Tasha Yar is still alive, but that might be the only good thing in this world. Tasha goes into 10 forward. Freeman and Rutherford follow her. Tasha gets her meal pack and sits down with Ensign Wesley Crusher, who seems quiet and withdrawn. This is how you're spending Christmas, Ensign? Wesley looks up. Is it Christmas? Tasha nods. I lose track, too, sometimes. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever actually celebrated. Wesley sighs. Me either. Never really had the chance. What if we celebrate now? Tasha suggests. She holds up her cup. Merry Christmas, Ensign. Wesley clinks glasses with her. Merry Christmas, Lieutenant. He smiles. He doesn't get to do that much, Rutherford points out. Smile, I mean. And this is the only time he ever gets to celebrate. Crusher gets killed in the same battle that Yar gets sent back on the Enterprise C that ended up in the future. You know, it's kind of complicated. Lieutenant Rutherford, is it your job to just show me dark and depressing alternate universes? Rutherford scowls. You know, you're right. This is pretty sad and dark. I'll do something about that. They end up on another ship. This one with lens flares like crazy. Freeman squints. What's up with the lighting? You did say the ones I was showing you were too dark, Rutherford points out. The lens flares back off, and we can see the sleek and white ship properly. This is the Enterprise A. No, it's not! From a world where a Romulan mining vessel from the future went back to the past and destroyed the USS Kelvin, setting off a chain reaction that changed the entire timeline. Freeman looks unsure. Okay. We're in the quarters of Spock and Uhura. Spock and Uhura. I said there was a chain reaction changing things. And also, Emcee is not giving up the chance to show some Spahura in the holiday special. Freeman looks at the pair. I guess that explains why they look so different. Rutherford looks surprisingly angry. I hate that so much it doesn't make any sense. Spock is lighting a menorah and saying a blessing, which I won't try to say myself because I don't want to embarrass myself mispronouncing Hebrew. Why are they lighting a menorah? Freeman asks. Spock is Jewish, Rutherford explains. Since when? Since always, I guess. It's on his mother's side, of course. Spock wraps an arm around Uhura. Thank you for doing this with me, Nyota. Of course, Spock. They press their foreheads together in that way. That is so freaking cute. Sorry, my shapiness is coming out. I can't help it. It always will. That's why they're one of the few things I was able to get a picture of. But Freeman is still stuck on the Spock is Jewish thing. And he actually practices? How different can this reality be? He does it to feel close to his mom. He's done that since she died in the destruction of Vulcan. The destruction of what? It's a super long story. Rutherford smiles when Spock and Uhura kiss. Oh, they're actually kind of cute together. I should tell Boimler about this. He gets really weird about the idea of Spock being happy. Says it scares him. I don't understand why. He's not supposed to talk about that. Freeman starts to get mad. Rutherford grimaces. Well, I should probably be going then. Rutherford disappears and Freeman sighs deeply. A dark figure in a hooded cloak appears in front of her. Freeman just glowers. Can we just get this over with? I know it's you, Beckett. Mariner pulls back her hood. How'd you guess? Your friends have been the other spirits. Who else would be the ghost of Christmas future? Mariner waves her hands, trying to look spooky. Now is the time, Carol Freeman, that you see what the future will hold. Freeman still looks unimpressed. Mariner slumps her shoulders. Listen, I have some cool places to show you, so we're doing this no matter what you say. Mariner and Freeman appear in another type of animated world. This one completely computer-generated. Mariner looks around appraisingly. I like the look of this place. Looks pretty cool. Where is this? Freeman asks. This is the USS Protostar. It's only a couple of years in our future, but wow, still looks way better than the Cerritos. Anyway, the crew is about to have their first holiday party. Mariner leads Freeman to the crew, and Freeman looks surprised. They're children? Well, teenagers. They found the ship in the Delta Quadrant and they're trying to get it back to the Federation. They learned about the holidays from a hologram of Captain Janeway. Rock Talk is putting paper crowns on everyone's head. She even put a tiny one on Murph, who is still in his original form. Merry Christmas, Murph! Gwyn is sitting apart from everyone else. Doll goes and sits next to her. Why are you over here? Gwyn shrugs. I don't know. It feels weird to be celebrating this Terran holiday. My people actually don't have holidays. Doll furrows his brow. So what if your people don't have holidays? I don't even have a people, and I'm still going to celebrate. None of us are Terran, but it seems fun, doesn't it? Gwen hesitates. Well, it doesn't seem too bad. If you don't like it, we can make up our own holiday. Doll jumps to his feet. We can do whatever we want, really. Gwyn manages a small smile. This holiday seems okay. We don't have to come up with our own. Doll starts to walk back to the group with Gwyn. It at least seems more fun than the time of mass purchasing. I had no idea melanoid slime worms were so adorable, Mariner comments. That is Moopsy level of cute. Hopefully not as dangerous. The scene changes as they are now on the Titan. 7 of 9 is wearing an ugly Christmas sweater, standing rigidly next to Captain Shaw, who is in a Santa hat. Captain, I believe it is inappropriate to demand the whole crew wear these sweaters. I just love Christmas, Shaw explains. What's the point of this one? Freeman demands. No point, Mariner replies. I just wanted to see 7 of 9 in an ugly Christmas sweater. Man, that looks good on her. Freeman groans. Beckett, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Just one more, Mom. They end up on a new ship. Welcome to the USS Discovery. The USS Discovery was destroyed over 100 years ago, Freeman points out. Actually, it got sent to the future, Mariner explains. This is 3188. You're not the only captain who has trouble celebrating. Captain Michael Burnham is walking alongside Saru. Saru looks down at her. Michael, while the crew appreciates your dedication, we are afforded some time off, and it is a fortuitous week as it is the interplanetary multi-faith end-of-year holiday. Michael shakes her head. You know, I always thought that was kind of a mouthful. But as I recall in the Shenzhou, you used to enjoy it quite a bit. I didn't have so much to worry about then, Michael replies. There's so much to do now. Not right now, Saru points out. As captains, it's good practice to lead by example and show our crew that they can relax. Michael looks up at Saru. You know, I don't know if I've ever asked you if Kelpians have any holidays or traditions around this time of year. We have a time of remembrance, Saru explains. A time to remember our ancestors who have been culled. The tradition has been changed somewhat, since Kelpians in this time are no longer culled, but is still a time to reflect on loved ones who are gone. Michael smiles sadly. You're thinking of Sorella, aren't you? Saru nods. I often do. Do you not think of your family? Michael looks down. I do. Lady Amanda used to love this time of year. There's no Vulcan holiday observed at this time, and Vulcan holidays are quite different than any other species anyways. But Lady Amanda had Spock and I celebrate Hanukkah with her, and she would take me out on Christmas, just the two of us. Michael wipes away a tear. Sorry about that. Saru shakes his head. Don't worry. Part of the Kelpian tradition is to plant a flower for those family members who are no longer with us. Saru holds out his arm to Michael. Tarina gave me some Favonite plant seeds that would serve as a good remembrance for Amanda, Sarek, and Spock. Would you care to join me? Michael smiles back at him. She gives a nod before taking his arm. The image fades. Carol and Mariner are back in Carol's quarters. Carol huffs in annoyance. You know, by the time Scrooge got to the Ghost of Christmas future, he was scared for what he would become. But none of what you four have shown me is about my life. I don't know what the point of any of this was. Maybe it's not about you, Mariner cries. Freeman is surprised by her outburst. You know, I've always hated the end of A Christmas Carol because Scrooge seemed so selfish. He mostly cared that he would die alone. It wasn't about the people around him, the people he should have been close to. All these visions, they're about people just sharing time with one another, enjoying each other's company. Whatever holiday people celebrate, it's about celebrating it with other people. And I want to share a holiday with the person I love most in the world, and she doesn't want to share it with me. I don't understand why you hate this time of year so much. After all, it's also your birthday. Carol looks down. Mariner frowns, calming. Oh, is that it? You don't like this time of year because it's your birthday? Are you, like, mad that everyone pays more attention to the holidays? Of course not. It's just, I end up thinking of everything I've done during the year, and I'm always disappointed in myself. It's why every year I hate it more, because every year I feel I've been more of a disappointment. Wow, that is so stupid, Mom. Freeman frowns at Mariner. I mean, how can you think you're a disappointment? The Cerritos is the most famous California-class ship in the fleet. You fought the Pacalids, the Texas-class ships, the Nova fleet, and you saved the Archimedes. You're the best captain I know. If you look back at your year, you should be proud of everything you've done. Finally, Carol smiles, and it's a real smile. Thank you, Beckett. Mariner hugs Carol tightly. Are you sure you're not mad that you were born on Christmas and Grandma named you Carol? Carol hugs Mariner back. Yeah, that doesn't help. Mariner pulls back. Well, we're having a party in the bar tomorrow. I really hope you'll come. But if you don't, I guess I'll understand. Carol smiles, looking around. So are we going to leave the holodeck? Yeah, this was never the holodeck. Mariner waves her hands, putting on a spooky voice. It was Christmas magic! Night, Mom. With Mariner gone, Carol sits down heavily on the bed and sighs. The next scene is the party in the bar. The lower deckers are toasting. All of them are wearing Christmas hats now. How much longer must I wear this hat? T'Lyn asks. Mariner shrugs. I have an elf hat you could put on. T'Lyn just raises an eyebrow. Okay. Mariner looks around the bar. Any sign of your mom? Boimler asks. Not. Mariner suddenly smiles. Carol is standing in the doorway. She has a present in her hands. Ransom comes up to her. Well, Captain, it's good to see you. We don't usually have you come around to the Christmas party. Carol smiles. I thought it would be nice to spend the holiday with the crew. If you excuse me, Captain, I see a crew member under the mistletoe. Jack! It's all in good fun, Captain. Freeman walks up to the table with the lower deckers. Merry Christmas, Lieutenants. She holds out the present to Mariner. Beckett, this is for you. Beckett opens up the box. It has a small data rod in it. What's this? It's a skiing program, Freeman explains. I thought tomorrow you and I could try it out together. Captain, Shax booms. I didn't know it was your birthday, too. We need to celebrate. The crowd begins to sing a happy birthday to Carol. As they're singing, Mariner notices someone in the corner. He's dressed as Santa. She makes her way over to him. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Thanks for the help, Q, Mariner says. I couldn't have done it without you. It was my pleasure, Mariner. It was good to have an excuse to put Jean-Luc in chains. But this makes us even now. No more favors. I think I've done way more for you, Mariner says. But she meets eyes with her mother and smiles. But I'm okay with just this. This is more than worth it. Mariner goes over to her mother and gives her a big hug. As the Cerritos streaks through the sky, the voice of Q fills the air. Q bless us, everyone. So that's it. That's my pitch for the Star Trek Holiday Special. There's some stuff that can still be fleshed out, but as it is, I've still written a pitch that's over 30 minutes long. I really think this would be the most fun way to celebrate the holidays in Star Trek style. Thank you again to Davey from Trexpert Quiz for letting me expand this past what I did for his show. I really enjoyed writing this, and I hope he enjoyed watching it as much as he liked watching the one I did on his show. Please check him out. I'm often a guest on there. Comment down below with your thoughts on my Star Trek Holiday Special pitch. What do you think would make a good Star Trek Holiday episode? If you like my videos, subscribe to my channel. I do videos about Buffy, Doctor Who, Marvel, Star Trek, Star Wars, and lots of other geeky things. Also, if you like my Star Trek content, please check me out on the Strange New Pod. We go live Thursdays at 9:30 Eastern. If you want to support me, please visit my Patreon. You can also buy me a coffee or visit my TeePublic and Redbubble. You can find me on all those platforms as well as most other social media as Emcee Frodis. So until next time, live long, may the Force be with you, and have a wonderful Christmas.